was a short break, and we are back on Economic Chat. Let's Talk Business with Mr. Daniel Steinman and myself, Elsie Dimnyani, as your hostess. We are talking about greylisting, and also that Namibia has been greylisted in February, and this is the FATF, and of course Mr. Daniel Steinman will give us a more detailed scenario probably of what this is all about, but also give us more information on what greylisting really is, just before we get into the impact of greylisting for Namibia.
It means that you find we're not alone, and it's not just Namibia and South Africa, but it's very revealing. Namibia and South Africa are the only two participating countries in Africa.
Oh, wow.
You don't see Nigeria on the list, you don't see Egypt on the list, you don't see Kenya on the list, which sort of puts the whole thing in perspective. Remember what I said in the beginning, that there are no courts and no police force and nothing. It is by proxy, by a process of sanctioning you to prevent you trading with your trading partners. But it's a very interesting question. What's going to happen to the other African countries? Because if we failed the test, I'm fairly certain Nigeria is going to fail it as well. If South Africa failed the test, Kenya and Egypt, Morocco, Algeria, all the big economies in the north, they're also going to fail it. Ghana, they will not make it. Democratic Republic of Congo, I don't think they will ever get on the list. So what I'm trying to say is that you have to look at this thing in context, and it mustn't rattle us, the fact that now suddenly we greylisted. There are 120, or there were 129 member countries that voluntarily joined the whole FATF effort to combat money laundering. Then Russia invaded the Ukraine 2 years ago. Now remember what I said, there's basically nothing they can do. They don't have their own army. They don't have a Wagner group that they can send in and sort Russia out and tell them, naughty boys, don't do it. So they just cancelled the membership. And if you look at the news every day, does it look like it had any impact on Russia?
No.
They are completely ignoring it. Mr. Putin couldn't care less whether they are a member of the Financial Action Task Force or not, whether they help prevent money laundering or not. You know. So, yes, they do have if your economy is basically located mostly operationally in the West and trading with Western countries, then being a member of the FATF is a big deal, and being greylisted is a big deal, because you can't sell your diamonds to the United States, and you can't sell your diamonds to Belgium, and you can't export your fish to Spain, and all that sort of, and your beef to the UK. That all will affect us. But you see, the thing is, it's easy to intimidate Namibia because we're small. It's very difficult to intimidate Russia because they're big. It's impossible to intimidate China because they will just laugh at you. They say, we'll trade with whoever we want to trade. So the whole idea that came from the G7 and later the G20 countries is that they wanted to curb illegal financial flows. And that means the movement of money that was derived from criminal activity. And that criminal activity are typically drugs, human smuggling, and military equipment. In the meantime, with the Secretariat in place and as it developed and with good funding from the G20, you can imagine for yourself, if you are backed by the G20, you're backed by basically the entire world economy, or 80% of the world economy. It's very, very powerful allies. It's also very powerful enemies to have, unless your name is Vladimir Putin. So, as I said, we're not alone there. There are currently 26 countries under review. So 3 years ago, with our first review, 72 legal points were identified, and we started working frantically to get all the new acts in place. Remember last year, we passed 9 acts, all to prevent greylisting. Didn't work, but at least it got us, we complied with 59 of the 72 problem spots. So there are 13 left, and we are working on them, but at least now, I think, now that we greylisted, we can basically relax about the whole issue, because to fix the outstanding 13, we've got 2 years for that. We will only be reviewed again in 2026. So the immediate heat, that intensity, we have to do this and we have to do that, that is now gone, and we've been greylisted. And I can tell you now, whatever diamond we can offer to the world, they will buy. Because there's this big thing did you know that as of last Friday, the 1st of March, all Russian diamonds and Russian-derived diamonds are illegal in the United States?
No, I was not aware of that.
Yeah, there's this big thing in the US to sanction not only Russian diamonds, but even diamonds that has been polished in India if they were mined in Russia. And a group there contacted me if I will be a sort of like a spokesperson or advocate their sanctions against Russia, and I said no, I want Russian diamonds to be sanctioned. And they say, why? I said, because we're also a very significant diamond producer. If you take Russia out of the queue, it's to our benefit.
Yeah, of course.
And I'm fairly certain the average American doesn't give a damn where his 4-carat stone is coming from. He just wants to get engaged.
Yeah.
So this is, again, it's viewing the whole thing in context. And now that we've greylisted, we can see that the impact is not really that big. But those issues have to be addressed. It is not only to the advantage of the G20, it is also to our own advantage. We don't want to do things that help the drug trade or child trafficking or pornography, or arms smuggling. It's to everybody's benefit to eventually comply with the FATF requirements. It makes the world a better place.
It does. And on that note, let's go for another short break. And once we come back, we will get into unlisted.